What is up guys, it is Simba here and welcome back to another WOR League Racing video, and today it is round number 5 for the Dutch Grand Prix, a track that I've been enjoying on this year's game and I'm looking forward to race around it. And as you can see, we might be a title contender as we are second place in the championship, just 9 points behind TF Denso, and we are looking to close the gap and maybe take the lead of the championship at the end of this race. So if you're looking forward to this one, as always, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more league racing content. There's a lot more to come as the league racing season is still going, and we're going to try and pump out as much content as we possibly can. So on our first lap around this track, it's not been the cleanest sector 1. As you can see, it's a 23.9, which is not great. Ideally you want to do like a 0.8 to be competitive. And then the middle sector is a 47.8. So we're not looking too great on this first lap. It's not been very clean. And I've done quite a bit of practice for this one as well. So we know what to aim for. And so far, we're not really achieving that on this banker lap. As we open DRS and across the line we go. And it is only an 8.7. Shocking. And it was quite shocking. We're down to P12 by the time we start our second lap, which was only good enough for P10. So, safe to say, we've got some time to find. So, open DRS at the end of the banking corner, and this is our best lap of the session. Spot the 50 on the left-hand side, down the gears to third gear, and we get a much better drive out of the corner, and we've gained a few thousandths. Much cleaner through turns 2 and 3. You want to keep it nice and tight on the inside, and you just plant the throttle down as early as possible. And now, as you can see, we're up by half a tenth. And Elite Risks, who normally tries to engineer me in these races, he actually recommended me moving the diff up to 51, and it's helped so far. But we have to keep going, as there's a lot more time in the lap. Much cleaner through the middle sector. We actually went wide on that outside curb there. As now, look at the time. Now we're 4 tenths up as we go into the end of the middle sector split. And let's see what it is. It is a 47.4 personal best in the middle sector. Down the gears to third gear. Nice and clean. And again, a lot tighter through the corner. Through the hairpin as well. Through the last corner. Again, a little bit cleaner. And we open DRS for the final time. With quite a bit of DRS on the table still. So we're not going to run out towards the line. And that is a much needed improvement with an 8.2. That's much better. And you can hear me say, that's much better. And as a result, we end up in P4. Just less than 2 tenths off pole position. So, in Spain, last time out, we didn't really maximise qualifying. This time, I feel like we've actually done it. So, very happy with quali. And we're going to go into the race where you've seen the title of this video. And it's going to get very interesting because we've got some rain on the way. You can hear me making a few last minute adjustments to setup and fuel. And we are ready to go. So let's see how we fare in the wet conditions here in Zandvoort and see if we can really put ourselves out for the title race. And we are underway here in Zandvoort, and the first phase of the start wasn't great, but the second phase is pretty decent as we go up the inside of the Ferrari, and it looks like we might have got the move done coming out of the corner. Okay, thanks a lot, pal. What an idiot.
Okay, there's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are so far no plans for a safety car. VSC deployed. The virtual safety car has been deployed. We need to keep a positive delta.
We love that.
Slow down and maintain
and I think we deserve
delta.
that. Not ideal, to say the least. Yeah, I don't know what the Ferrari was doing, but to save our blushes, we have a safety car at the end of the first lap. And we're going to change the front wing, and we are way down the order, which is a massive problem, which we'll see for the rest of this video.
Okay, let's go now. Come on. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tires.
I thought I got stuck as well, mate. I genuinely thought I was stuck. Jesus Christ. Oh, there's some very interesting shenanigans going on. So as we're preparing for the safety car restart, which looks very slow, the reason why I say it's going to harm us for the rest of this video with the lack of track position is because it's very hard to overtake around Zandvoort. There is only one DRS straight, and that is realistically the only place you can overtake. So we have got quite a job to do for the rest of this race to try and make up progress, to make places, because it's hard to overtake. But we're making it look quite easy for the car behind us, VRT Mustache in the Haas. He goes up the inside. WR Harrison goes wide, so that boxes us in on the exit of turn 1. And through turn 3, we're still side by side with the Haas. We stay ahead for the time being, but we lose the rear end and we lose the position. And that is quite unfortunate. So we've lost the place on the restart, but by the time we get into the middle sector, you can see here we're right behind him and he has a huge moment coming through that right-hander. And now we're going to go round the outside in the left-hander. Can we try and get the traction down and beat him down the straight towards the chicane? We're still side by side using the battery as he goes a little bit wide. He brakes pretty late and we have the inside line and we have a much better line on the outside, and that allows us to power past the Haas and we're up into P15. We managed to reclaim that position for the time being, but yeah, we're finding things to be quite tough in the rain. I haven't done any practice, as no one really has practiced the wet since they got rid of the wet time trial setting that you can do on last year's game, as we've got another safety car.
We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
Why do we have another safety car? So, you can hear my confusion of why the safety car has been deployed. No one else has retired, but you can see with the weather, briefly, you could see that it was going to go dry and then go back to wet weather. Now, this safety car actually ruins our entire race, because as you can see, people are pitting. You can hear me noticing that, as we're up into P11 now. Bourbon Boys pit for medium tyres, and again, on the next lap, more people are starting to pit, and you can clearly see it is intermediate conditions. There's still spray on the track, which means it is far too wet to put the dry tyres on as we move into P5. So I'm thinking we're getting track position for free. And we can now start to think about trying to gain more places up front, maybe get a podium, and maybe have a chance to lead the championship. But safety car coming in at the end of this lap, we get a message that we did not want to hear.
Okay, I've got a brand new race strategy on your MFD if you want to go and check it out.
Oh no. Oh, for the love of Christ. You won't believe this. I've just been offered dry tyres. You're taking the piss. And you can hear me say that I've been asked for dry tyres by Mark. And now, what that normally means is it is time to switch to dry tyres. So, now we're in trouble because we're effectively at pit stop behind everyone else that pitted on the safety car. As we're underway again, you can see it's more chaos on the restart. There's a 3 wide moment there between Harrison, Langman and Havmik, as I'm in a race with these guys to try and get into the pit lane because we're on the wrong tyres essentially. So by the time we get to the end of the lap, it is bone dry now, and we can't pit because our teammates in the pit. So we take the lead of the race, albeit on the wrong tyres. Please just go through. And as a result, we're going to be basically the slowest car in the field. And here starts everyone and their uncle overtaking us and dive bombing us because we're essentially on the wrong tyres, and I don't want to get in the way of these guys. Jesus. Okay then, just dive bomb me then, that's cool. And you can hear me just a little bit annoyed at the fact that people are dive bombing me, but honestly, there's nothing we can do about it. These guys are eager. I knew it. This is literally AEC Britain Part 2. To stay in touch with one another. As you can hear my frustration, you can hear me say, this is exactly like AEC Britain Part 2. And what I mean by that is, it was a pre-season race that I did in AEC, where a similar thing happened, where we were just on the wrong tyres at the wrong time. And we lost out massively. And it's, again, turning out to be one of those races where, if you're on the wrong tyre, you just lose out massively. And I hate races like that, because it's so 50-50. And on this case, we've picked the wrong side, and now we're going to be on the medium tyres, and this is really, really miserable. You can see we're just dropping places like a stone on that in-lap. And now, as a result of coming out of the pits, we are now 19th and last. And to make matters worse, we are a long, long way away from the rest of the field. And at this point, you might as well just say race over. We need a safety car, essentially, to get back in the race. But we're going to keep going, because if WR's taught me one thing already this season, is that chaos happens everywhere you go. So we're going to try and just keep going for the sake of it and see what we get out of it as we go down the inside of WR Harrison at turn 1. And we're looking to get the move done by the time we get to turn 3, which is something that we're not quite doing. He's still side by side with us. There's a bit of wheel banging between the two of us. As we hang it round the outside, we get the better traction on the outside line. And now we're looking to pass Jesus Anthony as well down this section now, down towards his right-hander. And we actually complete a double overtake, which is very nice. But unfortunately for us, it means nothing, as we are down in 16th place. And I can tell you, we stay there for quite a while. As you can see here, we've gapped Anthony, who was spinning around like a top, as he didn't practice much for this race. And you can see Harrison right behind us on the hard tyres as we move on to lap 17. We're just in no man's land right now with this Alpha Tauri. But going into turn 3, he gives us a hit in the rear. We damage our wing. And that has just compounded our misery here. What an idiot. And yeah, you can hear my frustration because I don't know why he was going for that. You know, we were clearly ahead going into the corner. And it was just a very unnecessary collision to have, considering we're 16th and 17th. About 5 miles away from the next car. I think we're like 8 seconds behind the car in front. So that's just put us even further back now. And we're in the pits for the 3rd time by the halfway point of this race. It's not looking good, guys. It really isn't looking good. So, yeah, at this point, we might as well just vibe about for the next 18 laps. You know, we're not going to get anything out of this race. So, we're down in 18th. We're only ahead of Anthony. I think Flo had a bit of damage as well. That's why he's down the order. But yeah, we're now in no man's land officially. A long way behind the car in front, and a long way ahead of the car behind. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get much or anything out of this race. But Harrison's crashed.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just
Thank
be
God.
careful.
Thank God for that. And he has given us a lifeline through a safety car on that lap. So now we might be back in the race, guys. We actually might be back in contention for maybe a few championship points, which will go a long way towards this very short season in WR. Only 11 rounds, so we might be back in contention for some points, which would be crucial by the end of the season. But hold that thought, because this safety car restart is bizarre to say the least. The hell's Allison done? What is going on? Oh, for the love of God, man. What? What have I just seen? We've lost time to the train in front because people don't know how to queue up properly. People just don't know how to queue up properly. Allison got damaged and everyone just slowed up, and now the train's completely broken. And it's only getting worse. As soon as we thought we were back in the race, there was a massive car park at the last corner caused by Allison, which caused us to lose touch with the front train. But now it is starting to rain again. At the end of lap 25, DRS enabled, but I don't think it'll be enabled for too long. But as you can see, Flo dives into the pits for intermediate tyres, and you can hear me asking Mark Priestley about the weather, but it's clearly getting worse, so we're probably going to have to think about pitting in the next few laps. But hold that thought. Jesus Christ, what the hell? It's raining a lot now. And by the end of the lap, it's chucking it down again. So we're going to box for intermediate tyres to the end of the race. It's going to stay like this for the rest of the race now, guys. We won't have another change to dry tyres. And we're only 13th. So yeah, it's not looking great. I know we have to double stack with Denzo instead of the start of the race where, you know, we would have lost. Where we lost a lot of ground initially because we stayed out. So we gained a place in the pits, but Flo goes by at turn 1. And now he's in the points, like 3-4 cars ahead of us. So, yeah, it's not looking great. This whole race has not been good. It's been very frustrating, and it looks like we're going to be stuck in P13. Because once again, it's hard to overtake around this track in the dry, let alone the wet. So, we're going to need a miracle or something to get something out of this race. But as you can see, by the time we get to the end of lap 29, Shazoo Anthony has finally binned it after spinning the whole race, and it's given us a late safety car on lap 30 with 6 laps to go. Now, I'm thinking of Spain last time out, because in that race we were 10th and we ended up 3rd in 2 laps. So this is a bit of deja vu from the last race, and we desperately need to make places if we want to try and close the gap in the championship. So safety car is in again. I've lost count how many safety cars we've had in this race, but we are underway with 3 laps to save our race. It has been an absolute disaster, but we're hoping for some more chaos ahead to get us in the points. But right now, it's not looking great. We don't make any progress until lap 35, as Demi has the same moment as Mustache did earlier, and we go up the inside of the McLaren, and we get the job done. We're up into P12 in this race, but we've still got a lap to go as Jonah has been spun round. He's out of contention completely for points. As you can see, Denzo through the banked hairpin is drifting about, and now some cars are trying to overtake him, and it's going to get very hairy into this last corner. There's a lot of contact, flows round, the Haas in front of us is round, and we somehow survive. But now we're 3 wide with Dami and with Bell Rofox in the Alfa Romeo. As you can hear me say, it was interesting to say the least. And now onto the last lap, we're trying to defend, and we have gone completely wide and allowed the Alfa Romeo to go through as the McLaren of Danny bins it at the exit of turn 1, and he's out of contention too as Flo retires in the pits as he could have got points. We make a bit of contact with the Alfa Romeo, and we're looking to go side by side on this straight like we did with Anthony earlier, but nothing doing. The Alfa Romeo of Belrovux hangs on to P9 for the time being. We're down to P10, but this is the first time I think in the whole race that we're in the World Championship points since we pitted onto medium tyres a lot later than everybody else, as we get a much better run than the Alfa Romeo going into the left-hander.
Okay, just turn in on me then. Cool.
And you can hear me say that he turned in on me. Sounded a bit like George Russell. I felt like it was a bit over-aggressive from my part. It looks like we've kind of just sent it desperately. But yeah, we managed to get the job done. Not the cleanest move I've ever done. And we're up into P9 now as Belrofox ends up in the wall after colliding with the Alpine. But somehow, after a very long race, Talentless in the Alpine wins the Dutch Grand Prix. And we're going to come home in P9. And another messy race in WR comes to an end. And on screen are the full results after the Stewart's review. And that's why it took me a while to get this video out, because there was a lot of collisions again, which means I'd have to wait for the actual results to give to you guys by the time I make this video. So, as you can see, we've ended up P8, so we've gained 3 points on Denzo, who got penalised for the event on lap 35. But this was something out of an Arrow for My Team episode, and I don't mean that in a good way. There was terrible racing standards, again, in WR, which is a bit frustrating. But we managed to survive the race, and we got points out of it. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the chaos. And that shows why you shouldn't give up in league racing. Next one is Abu Dhabi. And until then, take care. I'll see you all in the next one.